All to Christ I do surrender. All to Christ I freely give. I will always follow closely. Christ alone will be my guide. I surrender all. I surrender all. All to Christ I do surrender. I surrender all.
And it is in this surrender that I find strength and wisdom, understanding. I recognize God as the source and substance of all that is. As I recognize that, accept that, allow that, I begin in a place of grace and wonder as I look at the world around me, reflecting the life that I choose. So today I recognize this service as a gift and a blessing. We come together to awaken to a bigger vision and possibility for life and for living. And I know that the journey is one of just beautiful, beautiful love and peace and joy and well being. I know here and now that this journey that I'm on is one of awakened awareness. And as I think, so I shall be. What I believe becomes my reality. I recognize that my thoughts are creating the life experience that I have. Today, I choose to think thoughts of love, peace, joy, kindness, respect, compassion. I see the Christ wherever I look, and I am blessed as a result. All is well in my world, and for this I'm truly, truly grateful.
I surrender all. I surrender all. All to Christ I do surrender. I surrender all.
And so it is.
Excuse me, Kay. I need you to hit the prompt on your screen, please. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Kay Cyrus, and I welcome you to our Sunday spiritual experience. We are Verity Center for Better Living, a New Thought teaching ministry, a member of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. Namaskar. If you are joining us for the first time, it is my pleasure to greet you on behalf of the minister and our members. It is our hope that something said or done today will make a positive difference in your life. Please know that we accept you, respect you, and appreciate you. If you have any questions or need to find out more about the center, please visit our website, www.veritycenter.org, and subscribe, and also like our Facebook page. We thank you for spending this time with us. Our vision is creating and maintaining a spiritually based community that facilitates enlightenment, enrichment, and empowerment. Our mission is offering spiritually based principles and techniques to those who are seeking to live healthier, happier, and more prosperous lives. Our motto is always verifying the truth, vivifying the spirit, and vitalizing the soul. We offer a full range of sacerdotal services, classes, and spiritual coaching. There are also opportunities to be an active part of this community. Please refer to our website for more information. Please affirm the opening statement with me. It is on your screen. Believing is seeing. Once I shift my focus and believe in my potential, then my life becomes all that it can be. If you have your daily inspiration publication with you, please turn to the page after the center page or follow on your screen. I will be reading the last 3 beliefs. We believe that rather than devoting our primary efforts to providing for the needy of the world, the time has come to make available to all people everywhere a teaching that will enable them to provide for themselves by learning to release the divine potential within them. We believe that the Universal Foundation for Better Living is a vehicle for the spreading of such a teaching. We believe that a mighty new wind is blowing. People everywhere are hungry for practical techniques that will show them how to fulfill the good desires of their hearts. We in the UFBL believe that we have these techniques and we offer them to everyone without distinction, confident that with the help of the Holy Spirit, we can teach all who are willing to learn how to overcome whatever would keep them from their highest good. And so it is. Today's inspirational reading is found on page 20 and will be read by Janae Edwards of the Sunday School.
Good morning. Simplify your life. In today's high-tech society, things have become very complicated in many ways. We spend so much time engaging with technology that we often miss out on human interaction, rewarding relationships, and enjoying the simple things in life. As we celebrate National U.S. Simplicity Day today, founded in honor of transcendentalist Henry David Thoreau, born July 12, 1817. Let's get back to basics. Thoreau was an advocate of living simply and wrote on the simple joys of life. Our life, he said, is frittered away by detail. Simplify, simplify. Challenge yourself to take a break from your smartphone and computer for an entire day. Declutter your living space. How many objects and clothing are just taking up space? Donate what is usable and discard the rest. Sit in quiet meditation, preferably in nature if conditions allow. Revel your ability to pull back and disconnect from the fast-paced busyness of the world. As you simplify your life, the laws of the universe will be simple. The scriptural text is taken from Proverbs chapter 13, verse 7. A plain and simple life is a full life, and so it is.
Thank you, Janae. Please listen to the announcements. Daily meditation and the Wednesday evening breakaways continue. To receive the links or phone-in information, please send an email to admin@veritycenter.org or leave a message at 416-240-1956. Sunday school continues at 4 p.m. each Sunday. To receive the link, please email admin with the subject Sunday School. Summer classes are in session. Wednesday, July 8th at 1 p.m., Living the Spiritual Ideal. Saturday, July 11th at 1 p.m., A Life in Prayer Part 2. There's no registration fee for these two classes. Thursday, July 9th at 7 p.m., Basic Truth Principles 2. The book is Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Cady. Monday, July 13th at 6 p.m., The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. The registration fee for Monday and Thursday is $20 per class. For more information, please contact the office. Games night will be on Friday, July 17th, starting at 7:30 p.m. First up, Zoom Bingo. A Zoom link will be sent out in an e-blast, or you can also send an email to verityvibe1@gmail.com to receive the link. Please note there is a registration process. To register, click the link and follow the instructions. Have you been taking pictures to be submitted for the art show? If you have, please send them to verityvibe1@gmail.com. I repeat, verityvibe1@gmail.com. Today, during fellowship, we will be presenting the first submission. See you there. Join the vibe. Carol Harvey's father has made his transition at the age of 93. We send love and light to Carol and her family. This ends the announcements. Let us prepare for a moment of conscious communion with our source and supply.
Praise God, 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 praise God. Praise God, praise God, praise God, praise God, praise God. And as we quiet our mind, I invite you to relax into this moment. Let go of any cares or concerns that may have been happening over the last days, and just surrender yourself to this moment. And in this moment, find strength, power, possibility, as we recognize the value of thought, the power of thought. Everything in my life has begun as an idea in mind. All that I do, all that I express comes from an idea. I begin in this moment to recognize that thoughts are things, and so I pay close attention. I listen to the still small voice of the divine within, and I choose to respond and react within this to love and light and peace and joy. God is right here where I am. God is the infinite and the absolute, the creative substance of all that exists. I recognize God as being every little thing. And with this in mind, I know that God is all powerful. Therefore, I too am powerful. God is present right where I am, being my body, mind, and soul. I recognize that God is all-knowing. Therefore, I have the ability to know, to understand, and to accept a life that is truly rich and beautiful. Today, I accept life. What is. I look at it all and, well, it is what it is. And so I don't resist it. I don't try to push it away, but rather I welcome the good that is within it. For everything comes from God, so God is good all the time, so the good is here. I recognize it being here. And so I look at my world from a new perspective, a brand new vantage point, a place of accepting that God is good all the time. And it is in this goodness that I discover my strength, my passion, my purpose. And I live in a state of true grace from this moment forward. This life is so good. And so I praise God. I praise God now and always. And as I do that, something wonderful happens. More beauty and grace, love and well-being, greater health and relationships, infinite abundance, a flow of life that is truly spectacular. I am so grateful for this day and this moment. I am so grateful for life, for beauty, grace, and goodness. I am so grateful. This is a beautiful moment in time. And so it is.
The thought for the week is by Raymond Hollowell. The mind force is creating continually like fertile soil. Nature does not differentiate between the seed of a weed and that of a flower. She produces and causes both seeds to grow. The same energy is used for both, and so it is with the mind. The mind creates either good or bad. Your ideas determine which is to be created. We will now have a musical selection by the Voices of Praise.
If you continue to say what you always said, the dreams of dreaming are surely dead.
And you continue to walk that same old walk, and continue to talk that same old talk. Don't you know that you can grow in the ways of the Lord?
You got to change your point of view. Change all the things you do.
Dig way down inside of you, and let the light of God shine through. You got to change.
Oh, in every way.
Step by step, day by day, no more waiting, hesitating, change your life,
Waiting. Come on now.
no more waiting, hesitating, change your life today.
Thank you, Voices of Praise. Thank you, Richard. Today's lesson, Thoughts Become Things, will be given by the Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudell.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Voices of Praise and Richard. Oh my goodness. So beautiful to listen to the singing and get that energy going. The idea of our thoughts creating is such a powerful one, and it's so important that we begin to look at what it is we think. In the Bible, it states that God created everything, that there was the Word and the Word became manifest, that the idea became something, that it started with that idea. So when we look at that, that's a clue as to what's going on in our life and how it's going on in our life. And that's something that we need to remember now. The journey that we're on, everything begins in mind. Thoughts become things. What is it that we're thinking about, especially right now? How many of you are spending half your days, or maybe a couple hours a day, watching the news? Did you know that you could watch the news one time per week and kind of be caught up? Get the gist, especially the big stories. And that by reminding ourselves every hour on the hour, by watching that 24-hour news cycle, that we're implanting ideas in mind that actually can cause us great harm because they're creating fear inside of us. In the writings of Dr. Ernest Holmes, he said, when we use the word God, we mean the cause, the invisible intelligence, the divinity, that omnipresent knowingness, spirit, life, truth, reality, that is what we mean by God. And when we say that God is everywhere, we mean that God is in us, in each other, in this flower, in the interspaces of the universe. There is nothing but God. Anything that denies this divine presence is an illusion. It is a false conclusion. We want to remember that every idea in mind is manifesting. If I am focusing my attention on that which creates immense fear inside of me, what happens is that energy is now a creative impulse. Just like the thought for the week where it said that, whether you plant a flower seed or there's a weed seed growing, God is going to let both create, right? The fertile soil will feed both and they will grow prolifically depending on where our attention is. If we go in and take out all the weeds, the flowers have room to grow, to expand, to blossom, to bloom, and to be healthy plants. If we leave the weeds, what happens is they soon choke out the flower. The negativity in our mind is going to take us somewhere. The positivity in our mind is going to take us somewhere. Where is it that we're headed? What is it that we're looking for in life? And are we focusing on what's wrong and difficult and challenging? Or are we looking at what is good and beautiful and wonderful? Are we taking everything in life and finding the good in it? Are we willing? Are we demanding from the universe that we begin to see the good? Each one of us has a choice about what we think. I am the only one thinking the thoughts in my mind. Okay, I'm the only one thinking that. If I am thinking about death and destruction, if I'm thinking about violence and poverty, if I'm thinking about all of these things, my mind becomes very fearful and it becomes very negative and it loses all hope. My faith is challenged. What I want to do instead is go, yes, all of this is happening in the world and I'm not going to deny it. I can see it everywhere. And I am choosing to focus on the bigger idea, the idea of love and hope and faith, that I can get through whatever challenge shows up in my world and in my life. I can get through it because the power of God within me is all powerful. There is no thing to oppose it. And when I really recognize that and live from that, I begin to model a behavior and live a life that exemplifies this divine, expressive idea of love and peace and joy. So, where am I in my life and in my world? What am I doing that's creating good and harmony? And what am I doing that would pull down the consciousness of all? My thoughts become things. My thoughts go into the infinite ether and affect everything. So when I'm thinking negatively and my neighbor's thinking negatively and my best friend is thinking negatively, the entire energy of life is pulled downward. So I become part of the problem. When I begin to look for possibility and opportunity, when I look for the light, the good, the beauty in any given moment, when I have enough faith to know that this too is God and therefore it can and will be changed, by my loving attention to it, I shift it. The minute I go there, what happens is my world begins to reflect that new idea, and I'm modeling a behavior that other people can see. They see me being joyful, peaceful, handling difficult situations with a sense of it is what it is. Now what? Knowing that I can create something new and wonderful. Where are we spending our time? Ernest Holmes wrote in this book called Ideas of Power, he says, it is our philosophy that if we scrape away the debris, that which contradicts the divine presence, we shall find a divinity concealed in everything, every person, everywhere, all the time. It is our belief that in such degree as we may individually and collectively perceive this divinity, it will appear. Act as though I am, and I will be. Just like the opening affirmation, right? Believing is seeing. Okay, I have to believe in the possible. I have to believe in the good. I have to believe that we can get there. If I believe it, I will see it. He goes on to write, there is something in everything and in every person that responds to this recognition, this penetration, this beholding in each other, truth, beauty, love, reason, gladness, joy. Responds to seeing it in our environment. And to see it in our surroundings is to call it forth as though we recognized something which knew its own name. Look unto me and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth. It is our belief that is why we are here, that every person is a God thought. If that's the case, then I want to take a look at my life and my journey. I want to look at where I'm going and how I'm going. I want to begin to explore the thinking that I've got going on. How much time do I spend worrying every day? How many times a day do I go, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if the other thing happened? How many times a day do I look out and go, oh, can you believe what that person is doing? Oh, that's awful. That's horrible. Remember, it says in the Bible that, Adam was given the authority to name everything, and that whatever he named everything, that would become its nature to him. And what that suggests to me is what I name things, that's what it's going to be for me. So when I name, this is bad, that's bad, the world is falling apart, when I name it that, my reality anchors that idea and thought. My consciousness anchors it for me. And what I want to do is change that. I look at the world around me and I go, okay, there's a whole bunch of it that I truly love and enjoy. And there's some of it that absolutely I would like to see different. How do I see it differently? I go back in mind and I come up with the idea of what it is that I like. We've all heard about visualization, and visualization is a very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. It has been shown, there was university studies done where a basketball team, remember those? Just kidding. We'll get it again. Where a basketball team was given some direction. Okay. And 1/3 of the team was told for the next month, you're going to practice every single day. And another third of the team was going, look, go home, lay on the sofa, watch some movies, watch some Netflix, just chill. Don't touch a basketball. Don't look at a basketball. Don't play. And then the other group were told, do not touch a basketball. Don't go near a basketball, but visualize every day your shots, the way your game is going to go. Visualize every single day the skills that you know. When they came back a month later and they took a look at how everybody was progressing, they took the guys who had practiced every single day, and yes, their game had improved. I think it was something like 24%. It had improved over before that 30 days. And then there was the group who did nothing. Well, of course, their skills actually diminished over that month. But then there's the group that did nothing except visualize. And they improved, I think it was 23%, so almost exactly the same as the ones who practiced every single day. So why is this? The mind is the builder of the body. When we can see it in mind, we can experience it. Years ago, when I was taking tennis lessons, I couldn't figure out the serve. I'd go and meet with my pro week after week after week, and I just could not serve. Backhand was great. All that was good. I could not serve for love nor money. So I spent one weekend, I was tired of going in and not being able to do it. So I spent one weekend watching tennis. And as I'm watching them serve, I'm seeing it in my mind, right? I'm recording it in my mind so I could draw on it again later. And the day of my lesson, as I'm showering in the morning, I'm replaying that serve over and over and over in my mind. And when I stepped on the court, perfect serve every time. And my pro was like, wow, good job. You've obviously been practicing. No, I didn't practice at all. I didn't touch my racket that week. What I did, though, was see it in my mind. And the minute I could see it in my mind, my body knew what to do, because the mind is the builder of the body. When we take a look at the world around us, let us remember the mind is the builder of the body. And by body, I mean anything physical, right? Mind is the builder. What is it I want to see in my world? Do I want to see people being treated kindly, respectfully, compassionately? I must begin there. Okay, I must treat myself that way. I must love and respect who I am and what I bring to the world. I need to value myself so greatly that I begin to reap that benefit everywhere I go. Also, if I love who I am, if I really embrace who I am, it's really easy for me to love everybody else too, right? Because we always project. We project onto people. When we treat people badly, it's because we feel badly about ourselves. Right? When we're hateful, it's because we got hate for us, right? We're projecting onto others our own pain and discomfort. So I want to go into my mind and change my life and my experience. There's a story that came out a number of years ago about a doctor who practiced. He was a psychiatrist and worked at the Honolulu hospital. And I may have mentioned this before, but he did a practice called Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian spiritual practice. And he was hired by, I think it was like the Honolulu General Hospital or something, to go in and do, look after the criminally insane. And when he got the job, the hospital was in a mess. Nobody wanted to work there because it was really dangerous. And he went in and he said that he would not meet with a single patient. However, he would review all their files. And he would look at the file. And remember, right, there's only one of us here. There's only one thing going on. We are all some part of that one thing. Are we part of the solution or part of the problem, right? So he would go in and he would open up a file and he would sit with that file until he could find inside himself this person's experience and what was going on for them. And then he would do this little prayer where he would say, it was like 3 or 4 things, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. And when he had cleared in his mind all of the pain and anguish around that, he would go to the next file. The interesting thing is that they eventually closed that ward in the hospital because it was no longer necessary. All of the patients either were healed or improved greatly and moved into a less confining experience. How did that happen? How did that happen? Thoughts become things. When we begin to recognize that we are one, when we begin to see that how I think about life is impacting all life everywhere, when I begin to look at the world around me and go, I'm either part of the problem or part of the solution, which part would I like to be? I'm hoping that each one of us here is going to say we want to be part of the solution. So I invite you to forgive those who have harmed you in any way. Know that what they're doing and what they've done has nothing to do with you. This is their own pain screaming out. It is a call for love. I know that's not easy to do. It takes some work to forgive, doesn't it? But forgiveness begins in the mind of the person who's been touched by whatever's going on. If I can quiet my mind and recognize that this person does not define my existence, that this experience does not define who I am. If I will surrender into that, I begin to open up the possibility of living a new reality. So I start in my own mind, and I choose to see good everywhere. I choose to see love and possibility and potential. And it is in doing that that something wonderful occurs. And I just wanted to touch base with a little bit of something from Raymond Hollowell. And he said, the mind force is creating continually like fertile soil. I'm planting seeds continually. You ever notice that you never stop thinking? There's always something going on. Anybody who practices meditation or tries to, most people who don't meditate, it's because they can't quiet their mind to meditate. The reality is we're not meant to. We're meant to sit in the silence for a while and just see what happens. Nature does not differentiate between the seed of a weed and that of a flower. That was in our opening thought for the week, right? What is it we're planting? Each one of us is part of the whole. Now imagine for a moment, if you take a look at the physical body and you look at the idea that some person might have cancer. We know that some of the cells in the body are cancer cells. We don't like those ones, right? We like the healthy cells. Imagine that the universe is a body and within it are billions of cells. We'll call those people. And every one of those cells has a specific job or duty or task to do. Now, some of those cells, like the cancer, are damaging the other cells. Now, we can't necessarily just pull them all out. We can try. Sometimes we can cut out some. But we have to look at how we can begin to create change in a much bigger way. And we do that by beginning in mind to begin to see those healthy cells and to see those healthy cells growing and expanding, to believing that that health is the natural state of being. And because it's the natural state of being, it's easy to return to it, right? If you get a really bad cold and then you turn around and, 5 days later, you feel great again. How did you get back to health? The cold ran its course, you let it go, the confusion was cleared, and the healing occurs. So when we look at the universe and we look at all the little cells in that universe, we know some of them are very healthy and strong and vital and vibrant, right? These are the ones that are, the Mother Teresas and the Dr. Martin Luther Kings and Mahatma Gandhis of the world, the Nelson Mandelas of the world. These are the people who are envisioning something wonderful and beautiful and standing for it regardless of what's going on. They're beginning to look for, to find the good. And if they can't find it, they're looking for a way to create it. What is it that we are creating moment by moment, day by day? When we look at our world today, we might go, whoa, look at all the problems. But what if we looked at our world today and wow, look at all the amazing good things that are going on in the world today. Wow. Let me focus that. Let me expand that. Let me bless that and praise God that that is there. And then let me see it infect the rest. What if instead of COVID-19, we put into the universe love as the infecting virus that moves through everything quickly, changing the entire story, the entire game. We know that hatred is taught. We know that fear is taught and expanded and pushed, right? We know that these things are really instilled in us from a very young age. What if we change that? What if the message was so loud that our youth could be heard? Because they're saying some good stuff, right? Our youth are standing up in a way that is quite remarkable. And if we allow that to be expanded, if we allow ourselves to be teachable, to understand, my thinking creates my world. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to get it right so that my world can be good. I'm choosing to see the good now, and I'm choosing to be it now. I'm choosing to stand in truth, moment by moment, day by day. Where do you stand? Are you standing in the possibility? I love the song Imagine, because that song was about creating that peace. Imagine a world where there's no borders, where we're not attached to stuff. Imagine a world where we just love each other. If we would begin to imagine that and send love everywhere. If there's somebody in your life who is challenging you right now, oh man, every time you think of them, just bathe them in love. See love like showering over them. And watch what happens. It's quite remarkable, actually, what occurs when we begin to shower people with love. So let us see love as the virus that infects the planet. And what do I mean by love? Acceptance of truth, that God is and I am. Not the emotional, that's nice. It has its place for sure. But what we want to see instead is this compassion, this kindness, this honoring of all life and all souls, this expanding of ideas that absolutely envelops every person. Let us take time every day to bathe humanity in the presence and power of God, the love. Regardless of how we pray differently, it's irrelevant. How we work differently, speak different languages, all of that is irrelevant. We are one humanity. And that one humanity requires love for existence. So let us begin there. In the book, he says, our fears can do so much to us that we should be most careful what we fear and worry about. This is, and it's interesting, this book was written a really long time ago. He said years ago, when the flu epidemic was raging through this country and many were dying from the plague, a newspaper published an item of interest. In bold letters, the heading read, "Do not fear the flu." Isn't this funny to be reading this now, years later? It was the caption of an article written by a local doctor who explained that fear was the greatest enemy of mankind and that it would have a tendency to break down a person's mental resistance and make them more susceptible to the disease. The world is realizing more and more that we dare not entertain in our minds any fear lest it come upon us. Interesting that we currently have COVID-19 going on. And here he's talking about this. He said, if some condition handicaps us, perhaps a weed that must be plucked out, it is important to know that the condition is the effect that we see. It is not the true cause that we see. It is fear. Replace it with courage. As long as we allow things to seem real to us, we are putting our energy into it. We are nurturing it. We are feeding it. We are keeping it alive. We are putting our faith into that thing, whether we like it or not, and it must naturally grow. For the law of growth is ever working to produce whatever seed we plant. So we know that if we planted, some carrots last month, that in September, we're going to have carrots, right? We're not going to have zucchinis. We might want zucchini. We're not going to have them, because the seed contains everything needed and necessary to produce a result. The idea, I think, is the seed, and that seed is planted into the fertile soil called mind, and it is grown from there. If I am planting the seed of hate and fear and worry and doubt, guess what grows? The only thing that can grow is the thing that I've planted. We must come to realize that we are powerful beyond our current recognition, that we are so powerful that if we will just change our thinking, our focus, we will begin to create a new world for ourselves, right? But if enough of us do that, you know it's going to have a ripple effect, right? That more and more people who are doing what they love, who are passionate and excited about life, who are loving themselves and the world around them, that is infectious. Let us spread that virus. Let us spread love everywhere we go. Take the time to smile at the people walking up and down your street while you're sitting on your porch, unable to go anywhere. Or when you do go somewhere, you go to the grocery store or wherever, well, you know, you think because you're wearing a mask, people can't see you smile. I'm here to tell you, yes, they can. And I'll prove it to you. Here, let me find a mask. This really isn't a mask, but I'll make it into one. Can you see it? Can you see it? We don't have to, even if you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can hear if they're smiling. You can hear if they're smiling. What is it that we're doing in life and in the world that could make it a better place? Let us slow down. COVID-19 has sort of facilitated that, hasn't it? Although I have noticed that traffic's getting heavier again. We are in a position, we are in this most remarkable position right now because our entire lives have been interrupted. They've been interrupted by this thing. And what's interesting about this thing that has interrupted it is that we're all subject to it. We're all, you know, we're all kind of in the middle. It doesn't matter if you're the president or the king or a prince or a famous actor or, you know, the guy living under the gardener is irrelevant because COVID-19 is available to all equally. And what's interesting is the entire planet is now working toward coming up with some kind of solution. So we're working together. Now we got a ways to go to really work together on all the areas that we need to. But it is interesting that this thing that we're naming bad is actually pulling some stuff together. It's interrupting our day-to-day behavior. It is interrupting the way we show up in life. When I go out for my walk in the evening, I can talk to all the people sitting on their porches. I've never known these people before because they live a block away or 2 blocks away. But now I see them sitting outside, right? All by themselves because, you know, we're still kind of isolating a bit. But because we have enough distance, I can say, hey, how are you doing? And enjoying the weather or whatever, just making small talk. We are connecting. The more that we connect, the more that we connect in love, the more that we discover our incredible differences and how beautiful they are, and also all the ways in which we are the same, we begin to connect in a place of true love and compassion, and we begin to treat each other in a new way as well. We start with love in our hearts, and then we expand that. We start with this idea of love, and we allow it to move out. And know, just like dropping a stone in a pond, the ripples move forever. In the moment that I do a loving act, love is expressed everywhere. The minute that I do an act of kindness, the minute I show up in compassion, I begin to change the fabric of the universe. I am the cell that is healthy. I'm the cell that's healthy. And that healthy cell is now so powerful, it is infecting all of the other cells around it. You see, we don't have to kill the other cells. You see, with cancer treatment, sometimes what we see is that, you know, we do chemotherapy and it kills the cancer cells, but it also kills the good ones. So sometimes, you know, you kind of weigh it out going, what's better? A friend of mine had breast cancer, and what she did was forgiveness work. You know, when she got diagnosed, she said, you know, I need a month so I can, you know, do my forgiveness and eat a healthy organic diet and just see what happens. And in a month, the tumor had shrunk considerably. So she asked for 1 more month. The doctor wanted to do surgery. She said, give me 1 more month. And after that 2nd month, the cancer was gone. How does that happen? Because she focused on all that was good. She focused on all the love. And, you know, when we are angry or resentful or guilty or ashamed or whatever we got going on, what we're doing is we're producing toxins that will in fact impact our bodies. In the moment we forgive all that, we let go of the past, we allow ourselves to be present in love. When we nurture and nourish our body in love, what happens is we begin to create something that is brand spanking new. We begin to create the energy of love, and what happens is the cells regenerate. Scientifically, we know our cells regenerate, don't we? So why do we age? Something to think about. You know, why do we get these little lines and these little gray hairs, right? We've bought into an idea. And that's why some of us age differently too. You know, some people in their mid 60s look young and healthy, and some people in their early 40s look ancient. Why? It's all about the mind. It's all about the choices that we make day by day and moment by moment. And I want to invite you to really take a look at the choices that you're making in your life today. Can you willingly and lovingly and kindly and compassionately move your energy to love? When you catch yourself worrying, when you catch yourself being frustrated and annoyed at someone, when you catch yourself watching the news around the clock and becoming more and more anxious, can you take the time to stop it? And remember, thoughts are things. My thoughts, my ideas, all manifest in some form. In what form would I like? Do I want to be happy? Do I want to feel joyful? I can do that. But I have to begin where I am. So we accept that what is. Currently, we've got COVID-19. Currently, we've got all kinds of racial tension going on. All of this stuff happening that's creating pain and anxiety. And we want to shift that. How do we shift it? We begin to look at the problem and give it love, infect it with something new. Look at the person who's being hateful and love them enough that they can begin to love themselves. Recognize where they're coming from. It ain't easy. It isn't easy to shed love onto somebody that you really don't like. But we have a choice here. We have a choice to create a new reality. And it all begins with an idea in mind. What we think about, we bring about. This is what we teach. We either believe it or we don't. If thoughts are things, they're things all the time. Not on my good day, all the time. So if I make a choice to love, to be present, to show up in life, something happens that's different. When I choose to pray, when I choose to laugh, when I choose to sing and dance in the street, when I choose to remember that what people think of me is none of my business, good or bad, then I'm free, right? Then I can just be me. I can dress the way I want to dress. I can cut my hair the way I want to cut my hair. I can wear makeup, not wear makeup. I can be loud and chatty. I can be quiet and introspective. It's all God. My beautiful young son this week, and I can share this, not because he told me I could, but because he shared it on Facebook. I figure that kind of gives me permission. My young son had a very difficult time growing up, and even as an adult, he's now 38, he's had a difficult time, and he could never figure out really why. You know, why am I so different from everybody else? And about a year ago, his wife said to him, you know, are you sure you're not autistic? That maybe you're on the spectrum? So he phoned me a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, and he was feeling kind of down, going, Mom, I've been watching this show on TV, Atypical. And he said, for the first time in my life, I'm seeing somebody who reminds me of me. I see myself in him. Is it possible that I'm on the spectrum? And I thought about it, and I thought about, how he was in life and how things were difficult for him. Noise was difficult, and certain touch was really difficult and painful, and social settings were a constant challenge. And I thought, yeah, it's very possible. I don't know if my son has Asperger's, but it sure seems like he does. And what's cool about that is that's just his unique expression of life in this journey right now. And as he's come to recognize that, I think he's kind of grieving the life that he lived that could have been different had he known. And also accepting that, he's created in the image likeness of God. He is perfect, whole, and complete. He's brilliant. He's musical. He's talented. And he finds certain social settings, certain sounds impossible to deal with. Knowing that, and knowing that he's not a freak, because that's what he thought, knowing how loved he is and how cherished he is, my hope is that beginning today, he'll begin to see the gift that he is to humanity. That as we begin to accept that each one of us is different, as we begin to look at the idea that somehow we can understand better, the label is irrelevant. Doesn't matter if he is or he isn't, but he can relate to a whole bunch of things that people with Asperger's are dealing with. And by relating to that, he no longer feels alone. And he also feels like maybe he can work with it. And what he recognized by posting on Facebook is he is very loved. Whether he knew it or not, I'm not sure, but he is loved. So this journey that we're on, each and every one of us, we are unique and special, like everybody else. Now, my unique and special is a little different than Shem's unique and special, right? He sings it, I speak it. He's a little funnier than me, I think. But what a blessing, what a blessing. My daughter has a quirky humor that I don't really get it. She'll share a TikTok with me that she's laughing her butt off about, and I'm looking at it going, I don't get it. I don't find it funny at all. So where are we at? Where are we at? What are we doing? What do we want to do? Here's what I want. Here's the world that I want to visualize and see. I want to see a world where we are kind to each other, whether we understand each other or not. I want a world where I will listen and you will listen to the things that I share from my heart, whether you agree with them or not, but just to listen with kindness and compassion. I want a world that is strong and proud and beautiful, where people do what they love to do in the way that they love to do it, and we honor that all of us have a different path, a different way of doing and being. Some of us are quiet and introspective, and some of us are loud and boisterous. One isn't better than the other. They're simply different. When we come to understand that we are all a child of God, when we come to understand that we are all created perfect, whole, and complete, when we come to understand that what I think about life and believe about life will become my life, when I remember that, and I remember that God is right here, being me, now, always, and forever, I can choose a new path, a new way. Today, I choose to love. Not some people, not the people I agree with. They're the easy ones to love. I choose to love the ones that I don't understand, the ones that I cannot comprehend their behavior. I choose to love them. I choose to infect them with the divine presence of love. I choose to spread it all over the planet. I choose to hug and touch and kiss everything I come in contact with, so that it will begin to realize its value and worth, and from that begin to share in the same way. Let us spread the virus of love. Let us share the joy in our hearts, and let us speak truth within our own minds and within our life experience. Remember, thoughts are things. Thoughts become things. Whatever you believe about life is what you will see. Let us see beauty, grace, and goodness everywhere we look. God bless you. Namaskar.
Hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Yes, you do. You deserve it. My hallelujah belongs to you. 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 You deserve it. 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 All of the glory belongs to you. All of the glory, Lord. All of the glory belongs to you. All of the glory, Lord, belongs to you. All of the glory belongs to you. All of the glory, Lord, yeah. All of the glory belongs to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Hallelujah. 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 All the glory. All the honor. All the praise. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. Sing hallelujah. 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 All the glory. All the honor. All the praise. You deserve it. 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 My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you.
Thank you, Voices of Praise. Richard Whiteman on piano. Boy, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so grateful to have been able to listen to that remarkable music and just to remember that we do deserve it. We deserve great and wonderful, beautiful things in our lives. At this time, we have, I believe we have a new slide. It is time for our offering. And what I want to do is invite you to just know with me that divine love is right here where I am, and that whatever I think about and focus on becomes my reality. So let us know as we pass the virtual basket that that the beauty, grace, and goodness of life itself is right here. So let's say this offering blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. All is well, and so it is. And as we give our gifts, let us give those gifts through e-transfer, admin@veritycenter.org. Go to the website, veritycenter.org, click the donate link, or hey, mail in a check or stop by the office. Make sure somebody's there first. Stop by the office or mail them in to 447 Vaughan Road in Toronto, M6C2P4. All of this, all that you give, we are so incredibly grateful for. So let's bless this offering now. In this moment, I recognize God. God is the flow of money in the affairs of Verity Center for Better Living, and it is the flow of money and good in the life of each person present here today. As I recognize God as the energy of my finances, God as the flow of life. As I recognize this and live this, I know I'm blessed by it. So I know that Verity is blessed by these incredible gifts, the gift of love, the gift of time, and the gift of our treasure. And I know that it absolutely creates a beautiful, wonderful, and amazing world around us. So I say thank you for Verity. Thank you for the vision of Reverend Evan Reed. Thank you for the beauty of each person, the board members, all who participate here and give of their good day by day and moment by moment. This center is truly a gift and a blessing, spreading love everywhere. And for this, I'm grateful. I release these ideas to the one, knowing that we prosper, 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 now, always, and forever. And so it is. All right, so let us share our closing affirmation, and then we will have one final song by Voices of Praise. Closing affirmation together, please. God as light surrounds me. God as love enfolds me. God as power protects me. God as presence watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. I am one with the one. And so it is. Voices of Praise, everyone.